They physically got up and they pushed her out of the dance and they started cursing her out. Like, why are you dancing with them? How dare you? What the fuck? Like, why would you dance with them? You're not even dancing with us. You're not even an argument. Going off. All you see is the Panthers dancing. They eating this shit up. And you see my kids crashing out in the back, cursing out Keisha. Now you got everybody running, trying to like make sure my kids don't beat Keisha up. And I'm just like, I need y'all to comment. I need y'all to share. I need y'all to hype. I need y'all to do at least something. Okay. Because these videos is taking a lot of energy out of me. And honestly, this shit is kind of draining. And I kind of just want to get through this because I feel like a lot of people can relate. And I need to warn y'all before y'all go into this profession or until you go into another charter. Okay. I truly hope you are enjoying the series. For more series and stuff that I do not post publicly, make sure you guys subscribe to the Patreon because I have so many other series there of different jobs that I've worked at, family updates, family drama, you name it, we got it over there on the Patreon. So please make sure you guys head there. We actually have a $1 trial right now on the Patreon. So yeah, make sure you go check it out. We have 7 days, unlocked everything. And yeah, thank you so much in advance. Additionally, if you are looking to take any dance classes with me every Tuesday at 8 this month, okay, month of April 2026, we are doing hip hop classes via my nonprofit LakayRo. Scan the code for more details. Can't wait to see you in class. Shout outs to those you guys who've been showing up. Welcome to part 3. If you guys have your own personal stories, I would love to hear them down below. I legitimately feel like everyone really needs to start telling their stories. When it comes to any of these jobs, but specifically the ones in education, because the stories that I've heard, that I've witnessed, are insane. And a majority of them now come from this school. I will say one of the better things about this school is I've made some lifelong friends, some people that I truly care about, and I hope to stay connected with. Okay. Y'all know who y'all are. And for those of y'all that are still there and plotting your escape, I support you 1,000%. Like, I'll be sending people jobs all day. Like, listen, let me know when you quit. Like, cause it's insane. And this is only from my personal perspective. Like, there's so many other situations that I'm not even gonna cover ever because it's too much. It actually never ceases to amaze me how there's still people out there that make excuses for admin and student behavior in a lot of these schools, right? From charter to standard public to private to Jewish schools and nonprofits and all these programs that are for kids and are so grossly unprofessional and grossly understaffed. I hope a lot of people understand, right? By me doing these videos and other videos I've done in the past and watching other people's videos that they are understaffed for a reason. People are quitting for a reason. There is an education crisis for a reason. Not only are kids being passed and not knowing how to read, and they're going out into the real world and being grossly disappointed in how much they've been enabled and how much they're not ready to be out by themselves. But it's also kind of sad because, right, like you have teachers and staff, whatever, that are consistently quitting. And sometimes it's just so much and it's too much for them to the point where they just quit without even having a backup plan. And I've seen it happen numerous times. Like they don't even give a fuck. And it's that bad that it's like, you know what? I don't care what happens to me. I just got to get the hell out of this school. Right. And I'm not going to hold you. When this all started to become too much to me was when I realized how rampant the bullying was with the team that they gave me. So if you guys did not watch part 1 and part 2, please go do so. If you have a short attention span, feel free to go on TikTok and Instagram because I have started a mini series on there. But understand, if you do not have the context, you will not understand anything that I'm talking about in this video or any subsequent videos because you need to understand the context. This is not a regular school and these are not regular students, right? Now, one thing I know a lot of you guys are thinking, if this is like a sports based alternative charter, how is it that they keep giving these chances? Because if you know anything about alternative schools, since it is these children's last chance, they usually don't tolerate anything. They have zero tolerance for fighting, zero tolerance for bullying, zero tolerance for like a lot of shit. Because again, it is an alternative school. So usually they just don't let shit slide like that. This is different. This is completely different. I was misled. They set me up and they lied to me. And it just like, It blows my mind because on paper and I guess bare bones execution, I feel like this is a good school on paper. Like I genuinely feel like thinking back and looking back at this, like this school actually could be something really great if they had better professional staff and they actually followed everything by the book like they're supposed to. The only thing about that is I didn't realize that until I kind of like was on my way out because again, I was never trained. I never had training or anything like that until maybe month 2 or 3 when I randomly got a meeting put on my calendar for training with someone. And the training really just consisted of shit that I already knew and I had to figure out the hard way, which was like the culture of the school and what's the word they like to say? Reformative aspects. Like it wasn't really training of what to do, how to do this, or protocols or codes or anything. I didn't know anything. So I'm slowly learning stuff. And I'm sure to this day, there's still a lot of things I genuinely don't know. Right. So when it came to not knowing, I'm the type of person I like to seek knowledge and I like to seek information. Just like I said in the previous video, there's a lot of things again that I did not know until I looked it up and had to look very, very deep to find the information that I was seeking, especially in regards to working at the school. None of the reviews had anything to do with being a coach. A lot of the reviews had things to do with being teachers, and a lot of them were scarce. But the turnover rate at the school is also super duper high. Same thing with students. The graduation rate at this school, it's like less than 50%. There's a lot that goes into it that I wouldn't even have time to sit here and keep going over, right? But since I was not trained and I was not given much information, I had to kind of like find a way to do so going into week 2, right? Or I'd say probably week 3. I know for a fact I didn't have my phone number, I didn't have my laptop, I didn't have access even after I got my laptop to the grades and attendance and stuff for a good little minute when I started. I also didn't have a desk the entire time. So like I was working with limited resources. But when I finally got access to like I believe they use Jupiter. When I finally got access to Jupiter, I went and I looked into the behavioral reports. Y'all, when I'm telling you there was over 1,000 simply just for my students alone, and I only had a regular 12 on a good day. On a regular day, it'd be like 7 or 8, but on like a really good day, it'd be 12. On my roster, there was 20. So consistently, I would have about 8 plus kids that were absent all the time. At this point, since I finally had access, I would finally start reaching out to parents and stuff. They would not answer.
So I want you guys to understand there is no school phone system at all. We are making the calls as teachers, coaches, admin, staff. I don't know what goes on in the office. Maybe there's an office phone, but we don't have access to that. If there's no school, whatever, we as coaches have to hit up every individual child to find out where they are, or tell them there's no school, or give them whatever update it is. There is no school system. Okay? It sounds crazy. It is.
If I'm on a good day having 12, but consistently having about 7 to 8, and the rest of them are not showing up, like there's a lot more going on that meets the eye. So I started again looking at the behavioral reports, and Jesus Christ. The behavioral reports painted a story, a very much like segregated class. And I already kind of noticed that, especially like in dance, because you'd see one group over here and one group over there. And it was very weird. They were kind of segregated by race. It was very weird. Like the black girls sat together and then the Hispanic girls sat together. What's very interesting is there was one of the girls, we're going to name her Paige, who was black, but she was like Afro Latina and she was Dominican. And she felt more comfortable being with the Hispanic girls. And she was technically like the only black girl that was with them. But for the most part, the teams were completely segregated. And it was super weird. It was super like interesting to see like how separated they were, and how they operated separately, but like, they would still talk. It's not like they hated each other. But when I did ask the kids, like, why don't they hang out with these girls or why don't they hang out with the other group? They would be like, oh, like, we just don't feel comfortable, like, whatever. And it was like, no, like, like you see how they act, you see how they are. What they're referring to is the class culture. Now, let me just get into that real quick before we get into these behavioral logs, right? The class culture was these kids would just scream all day. I'm not joking. Like they would scream, they would yell, they would push desk over just for fun. They would stand on the desk, they would run around the classroom. And you guys are probably like, is this not high school? This is high school, and this is how these kids would act.
Now, the clip got deleted, but I need you guys to understand that legit, these kids, like, the language. Like, I know a lot of us talk about kids' language all the time. Like, oh, it's so bad, blah, blah, blah. I'm not talking about just cursing. I'm talking about their sexcapades, talking about their drugs, talking about like just things like insanely inappropriate in front of anyone at any time. It could be like the middle of math class and they're like, oh my God, yeah, like I was with him last night. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Like, just it's ridiculous. Like, yeah, we gonna smoke at the school. Oh, you gonna get me some? Like, yeah, because like some of them would engage in selling stuff. So they'd be like, yo, you gonna get me some after school? Da da. Yeah, like yeah, we gonna go to the train out loud, not in secret, not passing a note like we used to back in the day, not thinking, oh, we're in class, let's not talk about this. Like just genuinely no decorum. And if you would tell them to stop, it's like, okay, well, mind your business then. Don't listen to our conversation. You're in the middle of a class. You're in the presence of adults. Not only do you have no problem talking this way and like literally disturbing the entire class, but you have no respect for yourself to be talking about your sexual experiences and your drug experiences literally all day, every day, like in the middle of class. And what makes this crazier is most of these kids, okay, that I'm talking about have perfect attendance. They're in school every day, yet they're failing. They come to school to play all day, talk about bullshit, chill with each other. I can't even say other kids because nobody really fucked with them like that. It wasn't just a me thing. It wasn't just some adults. Like literally, they were the worst team in that school, and a lot of people tended to stay away from them. So this core, like 3 to 5, would hang out together, okay? And it was just a miserable experience for anyone that would get around them or had to be around them, because it's like, if you're a teacher, you can't teach. If you're not in the clique, you're more than likely being made fun of, or you're being made to feel uncomfortable by the conversation. If you're a coach, you're just like, I don't have to deal with this because, they're not my kids. Or if you're in my position, it's like, oh my God, I have to deal with this. Like, you're trying to get them to be quiet, but they won't. And then it's like, child, just ridiculous.
Nancy was the only one that kind of would be a little rowdy, and I feel like she was really trying to like fit in with the other kids. Like it was like shortly after I got there, she kind of started to try to like act up, but she was never really like that. But other than that, it was very like split. Like it was very, very weird. And then you had one girl. We're gonna name her Catherine. Now, Catherine, fun fact, she was my favorite. She might be watching this video, but she was always kind of to herself, but she was best friends with Nancy. Let me just tell you right now, that did not last. Obviously, high school shit, but it is what it is. And then there was another girl, we're going to call her Lisa. Now, Lisa was one of those kids that had really serious bullying issues because she was believed to have very promiscuous behavior. So she had a lot of issues with a lot of girls in the school in regards to sleeping with their man, taking their boyfriends, doing like petty shit to the girls here and there. It was very interesting. But Lisa was also kind of cool, but would have falling outs with another student. We're going to name her Melissa. Now, Melissa, hands down, one of the worst kids in the class. I'm talking about roaming all the time, crashing out, doing the most. And she was the ringleader of these kids. Like literally everything that Melissa did, they did too. If Melissa left, they would leave. If Melissa came in, they would come in. If Melissa was absent, they was absent. They would all dress up together. Like it was very interesting. Again, high school shit, right? But Melissa honestly probably gave me the hardest time, I'll say, of all these kids. Like she wouldn't talk to me for a minute. Like I would try to talk to her, she wouldn't even answer. A lot of y'all probably like, that's disrespectful. It is. But I understood that these kids were coming from a place of trauma. I understood that these kids were not used to me. So it is what it is. I'm not going to be mad that they genuinely don't know who I am and they're still getting acclimated.
Before we move on, right? Shout outs to the kids that I mentioned that did not give me any issues. Y'all already know who y'all are, okay? Nancy. There's one kid I did not mention at all. We're gonna call her Tasha. So Nancy, Tasha, Paige. We also have another one that never gave me issues that really honestly doesn't come up in any conversation, except for maybe towards the end, and that's Nala. Okay. And honestly, as much as like I already talked about Heather on Instagram and TikTok about like one of the stories that was like, yeah, nah, these kids got me fucked up. I actually really liked Heather. Heather, it's funny because I liked Heather because she said all the things that I could not say to these kids that I wanted to say, but I couldn't say. Anytime they was acting up, anytime they were just being really gross or like really just like unladylike and just like very grotesque, she would be like, y'all unladylike, like y'all need to get it together, like y'all acting mad disgusting, like y'all supposed to be ladies, like act like ladies. Loved it. Okay. It was just sometimes she would crash out for like no reason and it was ridiculous. Like she would go 0 to 1,000 very quick. But shout outs to those students because they, for the most part, didn't give me too many problems. How can I forget Stacy? Stacy never gave me any problems at all. Okay.
So it is what it is, right? The behavioral reports kind of showed that it really was like a them versus thing. I had read a report in which
So, because I know my videos are making a lot of waves right now, I'm just gonna omit the names for this particular story and just say two students on the team.
truly really wanted to go to the bathroom and they couldn't go to the bathroom because Melissa said, "Oh, they really don't have to go to the bathroom. I'm going to go to the bathroom." And since as teachers and coaches or whatever, we're not allowed to let the kids out more than once, like it's only one at a time. The teacher was like, "Okay, y'all got to wait for Melissa." Instead of the hall monitors telling Melissa to come back, they let her go to the bathroom. Now, this is the thing that you guys need to understand, right? Because we're going to go into the staff and shit more so in this video as well. The hall monitors are supposed to ensure that the kids go back to class. The coaches are the next step, and then, so on and so forth. And they enable the fuck out of Melissa. Okay, to the point where she just roams, she does what she wants, she goes where she wants at all times. And I truly don't understand it. And it's not just her, it's her and her little clique. It's Melissa. It's the girl I named Samantha before. There was another one I named Alexis. Yeah, it's them. And then there's another one. I didn't name her, but literally it was the four. They get enabled to the point where it's like, I've never seen some shit like this. But whatever. She ends up going to the bathroom and it gets so bad for Nancy and Jessica that Jessica actually ends up peeing herself. Okay. And I'm like, if that's not bullying, I don't know what is. For you to ask to go to the bathroom and for another student to get up, like you're not even really going to the bathroom and just walk out and be able to go to the bathroom, not be redirected back to the point where you really had an emergency and you pee on yourself. I was so heartbroken when I read that. Why is this a recurring thing? Mind you, this was just one instance. There were numerous instances of this group did this to that group did that to that group. And I was just like, oh, wow, this needs to be addressed because I'm not about to be managing a whole class of bullies. Like,
And it's funny. I think that's part of the reason I didn't have any help. Like, I'm not even gonna hold you. I think most of the staff was just sick of it and just was happy they didn't have to deal with it anymore. But it's dead wrong. Wasn't trained, wasn't filled in on any information, had to figure everything out by myself, had to deal with all these behavior issues, and I'm not equipped to do so, especially by myself. And then it's like, it's funny because I've heard, okay, that my video has been causing a lot of controversy with a lot of people. A lot of people are upset and a lot of people are annoyed that I quit all of this. It's like, nigga, y'all didn't even want to deal with these kids. Let's be fucking for real. Y'all didn't even want to be around. Some people actually did help, okay? And I've already mentioned that before, but for a majority of these people, they would show up for like 2 minutes and just dip. Like, because literally within 2 minutes, you'd hear them cursing somebody out. You'd see them twerking. You'd see one climbing the window. You'd see one doing it's just like, why? Just sit down. Just sit down.
if y'all know, because I've talked about this at length numerous times, I don't deal with bullies. I don't deal with behavior in which like can truly harm a child psychologically. Like I hate that shit. So I read all these reports. I read through at least like 500 of them. Like I literally stayed up all night going through these reports and I was just like, what the fuck? Okay. And I came to Circle to talk about it, right? Now, I got reprimanded by the social worker about this. Right now, what did I tell you guys? The social worker is actually supposed to be there for Circle. She wasn't there. Every single time I had Circle, she would show up midway or just not show up at all. So I did not know I wasn't supposed to have this conversation because I feel like I should be able to talk to grown ass kids about their behavior. So I brought up some things. I was like, is there anything I can do to make this better? Because I don't like the fact that a lot of you guys genuinely feel uncomfortable in your own class. This is supposed to be a learning environment. You're supposed to be able to just grow, graduate, become a functioning adult. And the fact that a lot of you guys are truly mean to each other for no reason is crazy. And mind you, from me reading the reports, me observing, because at this point, like the way they talk to each other is one thing, right? I kind of had to learn that, okay, they just be joking. But the problem is with these kids, they're so like hot and cold that one little thing on the wrong day can trigger an entire like fist fight. Like it could be like if you say, hey, bitch, one day, it could be like, yeah, bitch, ha ha ha. But then the next day you say, hey, bitch, and it's like, who the fuck you calling a bitch? And now they fighting. So I had to tell them, like, listen, y'all need to work on y'all language. Y'all need to work on y'all behavior. Y'all need to work on how you guys talk to each other. like they snatching each other's snacks out their hands. They're pushing each other into the classroom. There is just all of this like real mean girl behavior that yes, sometimes can be taken as a joke because that's how they interact. And that's what they were trying to tell me. Like, nah, like coach, we be joking sometimes. Like, like, but I'm like, you need to understand not everybody's gonna take your shit as a joke. And that's where Catherine comes in. Now, the thing is with Catherine, like I said, she's my favorite, but Catherine does have some issues. And Catherine also had a para. Now, it is also to be noted that I didn't even know that there was going to be paras. No one told me anything about paras. I just saw these two adults tailing the class say nothing, like mute. I thought they were literally deaf because they literally did not speak. And eventually I had to ask, like, who are these people? And they were like, oh, those are the paras. That is Heather's para and that is Captain's para. And I'm like, who's Heather? They're like, oh, she really doesn't come to school like that. And the whole funny thing with Heather is every single time I would try to like reprimand them for something. Oh, I can't wait for Heather to come. I can't wait for Heather to come. Like I'm supposed to be scared of Heather. Ain't nobody scared of nobody. Ain't nobody scared of Heather. Like, it was very weird. Like, oh, I can't wait for Heather to come. Like, okay. And it was like, yeah, that's Heather's parent. I'm like, so if Heather's not here, why is your parent here? And it was like, well, I mean, I guess, they're contracted to come every day. So they would be there. They wouldn't do anything. They wouldn't say anything. They wouldn't like involve themselves in anything, which I guess is fair because that's not their job. Their job is to be the para of these students, which is to help them with their academics and stuff like that. So it was very, very interesting because Catherine's para, she seemed to really, like help her and bring her to class and whatever. But I heard that this was like her fourth para. And at this point, we were in November, December. Yeah, it was December. And I'm like, fourth para, nigga. September, October, November. Like, she's had four paras in like a year. And it was like, yeah, like it's always been something, she always has these different paras. It's always something going on. I'm like, yeah, this is a lot. And at the time, her para was in the classroom, but Catherine wasn't. I don't know if I think she might have just came to school late that day. Now, may I remind you, the school day starts at 9:30. There's no school that starts at fucking 9:30. And these kids still continuously come in at 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11, noon even, and they let these kids in continuously. You need to keep that in your head because it's going to come up later as well. And while I'm having this conversation, they bring up, oh, well, yeah, like we don't have problems with each other. Like sometimes, like it could get annoying and stuff like that. But like it's really Catherine that be talking shit. Now, mind you, I just told you guys that Nancy and Catherine were best friends. Nancy took it upon herself, again, high school shit, says, yeah, like Catherine be talking shit about y'all. Now the other group is like, oh, what she be saying? Like Melissa's like, oh, what she be saying? And I'm like, what? Like at this point, now they took the conversation and they let it roll, but they were being mature about it. They weren't being rude and they weren't being disrespectful. They were just voicing how they felt. Now, this is where I find out that apparently Melissa and Catherine fought last year and they used to be friends. And I'm like, oh, that's actually quite interesting. Why are you guys still on the same team if you guys fought? Like, that is crazy. Like, why not move one of them? Why not, try to mitigate? And again, this is part of that reformative culture that I could never get into because it's like, at this point, you're causing problems for everyone involved. You're causing problems for the coach, you're causing problems for the teacher, you're causing problems for the students because why do you have two kids that had a physical altercation on the same team still who clearly still have issues with each other? And I understand it could be said because I've done it before where I had two kids that had an issue and I still kept them on the same choreography piece or whatever. But that's a choreography piece. You do it and you're done. But to keep them on the same exact team where they have to see each other and interact with each other every single day, I just feel like it's not safe. It triggers a lot of mental and emotional situations, especially when it came to Catherine, because Catherine just had a problem with everyone on that team. Or better yet, everyone had a problem with her. I was spending a lot of time being with Catherine, calming her down, making sure she didn't code. It was very interesting. During the conversation, the kids were actually being really respectful, but Catherine actually ended up walking in during the conversation. And when Catherine walked in, she walked in with the social worker. I guess she came to school late and then she went to the social worker because then they both walked in. The social worker was like, oh, you shouldn't be having this conversation with these kids like that. They're not mature enough to be having this conversation. One, who are you talking to? Two, nobody told me that. Three, you were supposed to be here and you weren't. Four, you're walking in with the kid late as shit. Why? Like, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, too many issues with this. Like, first of all, I looked at her and I was like, oh, wasn't aware. And Melissa chimes in, like, first of all, we was having this conversation and it was fine until you walked in. Like, literally, like, checked her real quick. Like, we were fine. Like, we were just having a conversation. And she's like, yeah, but like now Catherine's gonna feel some type of way because you're having this conversation without her and like da da da. And Catherine did feel away. I will take full accountability for that part. I feel like honestly, the social worker should have been there. But hey, like I said, she wasn't. But the crazy part about the whole thing is Catherine wasn't necessarily mad at the conversation, she was mad that Nancy basically went and told these girls that she was talking shit about them when obviously she's always had an issue with them, especially with Melissa. And that's supposed to be her friend. And why would you do that? And I even told Nancy, I pulled her and I said, listen, you're messy. Cause why would you go and tell them that? Like that's supposed to be your friend. She's like, I don't know. Like they need to know that like she don't like them and she be talking shit, even though she be trying to smile in their face. Like it was just such a mess. And this turned into a lot of nonsense. That didn't really need to happen. And it escalated to my very first code. Now, this shit right here, right, was insane because it really didn't need to be like that. So, because of that whole conversation we had in circle, there had to be like a conversation had with the kids and how, like, they really do need to stop their mean girl behavior and how they really do sometimes make each other feel uncomfortable, but no one wants to voice it. And then it morphs into something else. So I had that conversation with them. Coach Keisha had that conversation with them. And then social worker had that conversation with them. And honestly, everything was fine, but you could still feel the tension because obviously now Catherine and Nancy were no longer friends. Like they, to this day, no longer friends, cut each other off. It was a whole thing. That day transformed into numerous other codes. I can't even remember. I cannot pinpoint what they were, but I know I wasn't there for all of them until this one. Now, throughout the day, again, there was little instances here and there. Some of them ended up being codes, some of them did not. But now we have lunchtime. I was near Catherine, Melissa, Samantha, it was like a bunch of them. And then Coach Danielle was there. And me and Coach Danielle were talking. Coach Danielle walks away for a little bit. I turn my head. All of a sudden, Melissa and Catherine are about to engage in a fist fight. And the entire school, all you see is like the entire league too, literally taking Catherine out on one side and taking Melissa out on the other. There's like two doors in the cafeteria. So they're trying to push Catherine out through the other one, her shoes flying. And all of a sudden, I see Melissa take a bag of like chips and water and all of that, and she tosses it at Catherine. And literally, Coach Danielle came out of nowhere, like caught the bottle because there's like a water bottle in the bag. So she throws the bag, the water bottle comes flying out the bag. Danielle catch the water. This just sounds crazy. It sounds like a movie because it felt like one. Okay, she catches the water bottle. The water bottle ends up hitting Catherine, and all you hear is, "Bitch, shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck! I'll fuck you up! I'll fuck you!" Like just screaming at the top of her lungs. Melissa's like, "Bitch, don't you ever sit in my fucking seat again, bitch! Don't you?" And I'm like, this shit was over a seat. This was over a chair. We're fighting over a chair. I'm just sitting there like, I was in shock. I was too stunned to speak because one, I didn't understand how it escalated to that. Two, I didn't understand how, of all things, we're fighting over a chair. So, from what I understand, I got the story later. Melissa sat in a chair, got up. Catherine came, sat in the chair, not knowing that Melissa was sitting in the chair. Since tensions were already high, when Melissa came back, she rudely said, "Get up out my seat." And Catherine said, "Say please. Like, you don't have to be rude about it." And shit just went left from there. And I'm just like, this is crazy. If you're fight about something serious, like now y'all both about to get in some shit for absolutely no reason.
If this sounds like jail, literally, this is a jail ass type of fucking argument to have. Like, it really is. But the funny part is this is technically my first code that I called. This wasn't my first code. There was other codes that happened in my presence, out of my presence, etc., including one that happened right before this that hopefully I don't remember. I mean, I'm still editing. I don't remember if I went over it in this video, but that technically was my first code, but I didn't call the code. And we're going to get into that.
So at this point, this is where I kind of had to like start getting to like talk to admin and staff and stuff. So we have the principal. Now, I briefly mentioned the principal last time. We're going to name the principal. They made some nicknames for her, and I'm tempted to use one of the nicknames. We're gonna call the principal. We're gonna call her Principal Click Clack. She used to wear these heels, and you would hear her coming from a mile away. It was so hilarious. So we gonna call her Click Clack, right? Like I said, I liked her. I didn't have a problem with her. I feel like everybody didn't like her specifically because she was trying to instill order. And she was one of the very few professionals in that building. The rest of those people were not professional. They were ghetto. They were disrespectful. They were rude as shit. They were just as bad as the kids. And that's why they didn't like the principal. And I'm going to stand on that hill. Okay.
I don't know how I could forget my most stressful day. I do remember the codes, okay? That whole situation stemmed into another student. I'm just gonna name her student because this girl didn't even come to school enough for me to even give her name. Okay, like I literally seen her maybe 2 to 3 times, and one of those, I think each of the times she got sent home early because of an altercation. I liked her though. From what I can pick up from them 2 to 3 times, like I liked her. She was cool. But everybody ended up having an issue with her after this because that whole situation in the cafeteria morphed into some shit with her and Stacy. And like I said, Stacy never gave me no problem. Okay, Stacy was cool. She was chill. She was one of those kids, which I don't know if I'm mentioning it in this video, but she didn't even come to dance. She was more comfortable being in volleyball. The school allowed her to go to volleyball instead of dance. Now, this is where, we start talking about different rules for different fools. There's a lot of my kids that didn't want to be in dance and were supposed to be in volleyball and got lied to and got placed in dance because there was no space. And they weren't told that until they got to the school. Okay, meanwhile, she gets to go to volleyball. That is absolutely insane. But that's neither here or there. She never gave me any issues. Okay, the situation got crazy because basically this girl, okay, student in question, was like, oh, y'all mad immature, y'all stay bullying her, y'all stay coming at her, whatever, like y'all need to leave Catherine alone. And Stacy was just sitting there like, okay, like, it's you don't even be here for real. Like, you don't even be here, so you don't even know what's going on, but like leave it there. Now mind you, to Stacy's credit, the girl just wouldn't be quiet. Like, she just kept talking about it, literally from the cafeteria up to the next class, which was math. She was just like, y'all bullies, y'all this, y'all that, like y'all like really like picking on people, da da da. And Stacy's like, okay, drop it. Like, drop it. Like, nobody's bullying her. Like, they had this whole stance where they were like, nobody's bullying her, nobody's bullying her. But honestly, from the outside looking in, that's what it did look like. So basically, the girl was trying to defend Catherine. Okay, she was really trying to be like, listen, like, no, y'all are bullies, y'all some big bullies, da da da. Y'all really not about shit. Child, all of a sudden Stacy's girlfriend is hearing that she's talking crazy to Stacy. She starts running up. Now Stacy's running up. The girl's climbing the desk. I'm in the middle trying to stop her from jumping off the desk. Like, at this point, a code gets called. I don't remember who called that one. It could have been me. I don't remember. But all I know is at the same given time, I'm getting a call on the walkie that another one of my kids is having a cold. And then at this time, Catherine's having a cold. Well, Catherine and Melissa had already been escorted to wherever. But then I'm hearing that apparently Samantha tried to stop the situation and she tried to help Catherine. So she ends up getting in a cold because I guess Catherine hooked off on her. So I'm getting that call on the walkie. Then I'm hearing like there's another one. I think it was Nancy that got mad because Catherine looked at her some type of way. So now she going to go and confront her. Like, when I'm telling you chaos, I was just like, yo, I can't do this every day.
So at this point, they had to bring the kids to the principal. I believe they were sent home right after that. Melissa had to bring in her parent, and obviously so did Catherine. And I was called into the meeting to observe what had happened. Catherine's mom was just like, well, if y'all saw that, they had an issue with each other, why would y'all let them sit near each other at lunch? And I had to explain, like, they weren't sitting together. One sat in a chair, the other one came, sat in the chair. And yeah, like it wasn't like they were all like meshing together. Like I was there for 2 seconds, turned my head, and then boom, like they're high schoolers. And that's what I'm not understanding about all of this. Like in all these stories, I need y'all to keep in mind these are high schoolers, not regular high schoolers, overage high schoolers. A lot of these kids is 18, turning 18. They're literally like 16 and have the credits of a freshman. So I shouldn't have to watch these kids like a hawk. I really should not. It's not like I'm with first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. Like I'm with high schoolers, overage children that should know how to ask each other to get up out of their seat respectfully, but I guess not. So while this conversation is being had, the idea springs up of Catherine changing teams. I already had this in the back of my head because the way they would target her, like she would talk and these kids would just be like, oh my gosh, shut the fuck up. Like under their breath. She would be answering a question. She would go to the bathroom. They would roll their eyes at her. Like she'd get up to do something, or she would ask a question, or she would like come talk to me, and they're like, this bitch. Like it was just like little shit out there. And it was just like, I don't see the point. Like it's one thing to not like someone, but like when you're constantly targeting someone to the point where like at that point it becomes bullying. We all know the definition of bullying, right? It's not just being mean on one or two occasions. It's consistent, mean, disrespectful, or unwanted behavior from one person or one group to another. It's the power imbalance. It's a lot of different things, but the main keyword here is consistent. And with her, it was consistent. So in the back of my head, I was already like, yeah, I think she needed to be moved. And they were contemplating putting her on the volleyball team. Obviously, Coach Danielle was the coach for the volleyball team, right? So she also had a good rapport with Catherine. And she was like, I think it would be good for her. I know she might see this. I'm going to tell you right now. And I've said this to her. Catherine really sometimes do be the problems. But also, like I said, she has some issues. A lot of times with Catherine, it wasn't her. It was them provoking her. But some of the times it was her thinking that things were being done and things were being said and things were happening behind her back that actually weren't happening. It was her kind of feeling like this is what was happening. It was her feeling like she was targeted in a way. It was her feeling like, oh, these people don't like me. And although those kids were doing that, there were a lot of times the kids really weren't paying her any attention. And she would just cry out of nowhere, burst into tears, and be like, "Oh, they're looking at me. Oh, well, they don't like my song choice for dance." And like, it was very interesting. But again, like I said, she had problems, and the kids knew she had problems. So that's why I didn't understand when they would actually target her. Like, why are you targeting her when you know she has problems? And the other kids would be like, "Well, I'm tired of y'all making excuses for her." Well, she would roll her eyes at us too. Like that was their excuse. So I really felt like moving her out of that environment would actually help. So her mom came and she was saying, "Yeah, like I think she needs to be moved. We're going to explore it. We're going to do our pros and cons because, this is too much at this point." Now, since this was like week 2 going on week 3, break was coming around the corner. So they were supposed to sleep on it, make a list of pros and cons. And it was interesting because Catherine would talk to me and be like, "Hey, I want to lead a team. Fuck this team." And the next day she'd be like, "I think I'm gonna miss this team." So she even didn't even know what she really wanted to do, and Click Clack was just like, "Thank you for everything that you've been doing with these kids. I know it's hard. That's a rough team, like even I can't get through to them. Like I come into the room and they don't even want me there." She started laughing. I said, "Yeah." And Janet was in the meeting too. And she's like, "Yeah, like I understand things could be hard. You're the one that called the code." Because I called the code. That was my first time calling the code. She's like, "You called the code and that was really great. But that's a code. I think it was a code too. Because technically, no, child, I still don't know because everybody had a different answer what type of code it was. Since the bag was thrown and the bottle was thrown, it's considered a code 1 because it's physical. But I'm thinking code 1 is like fist fight. At this point, I'm like, I don't know what code is what. Y'all need to have like a book of codes, like, because this shit is mad confusing. So it was like, yeah, technically it was a code 1, but like, yeah, we gonna go through that. We gonna make sure you get the training, whatever. I never got the training ever, just to let you guys know. But yeah, they were like, yeah, like, just keep doing what you're doing. And let me just tell you, they had a lot of toxic positivity in this. And that's why I'm very happy I have a strong level of discernment and I don't let niggas play in my face, like whatsoever. You're not going to tell me anything that I truly do not believe about myself and have me believe it. I might be sad. I might think about it. I might be like, maybe I should work on this. But what I believe about myself is what I'm going to believe about myself. So every single time I would bring an issue to them or a grievance to them, they would be like, "Well, but you're doing such a good job." And it's like, for what I was given, I guess. But it's like, if this is considered a good job, I don't know. Like, it was just very interesting. So fast forward, we have this performance. Now, like I already told you guys in part 2, these kids did not want to dance. They wanted to do TikToks. Now, when they showed me all their dances, I realized they were a compilation of TikToks. When I asked them who made these dances, it was a compilation of the previous coach, Coach Galaxy, and themselves. And I was just like, so Coach Galaxy had y'all doing TikTok dances? Like what I'm telling y'all, this is the funny part. And I know some people are probably watching this like, well, kids do TikToks all the time. That's how you get through them. Da, 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 da. TikToks are not for stage. I will never in my life dumb down my teaching of children or adults to TikTok dances. Period. I don't give a fuck if that's what's trending right now. TikToks are for TikTok. TikToks are not for the stage. TikToks are not for performances. They're for the phone. They stay on the phone. And since these kids didn't have a phone, okay, remember I said they were collected at the door? They would always use the staff's phones in order to do these TikToks and find the TikToks for their performances. So I was just like, I was in the twilight zone. Mind you, I've worked with younger kids, older kids, adults, people that were obsessed with TikToks, and even they know not to bring that shit to dance class. These kids, they wasn't having any. Every single thing they came up with was TikToks. Everything they already had was TikToks. I didn't have much time to come up with a performance for them. So I had to do a compilation of everything that they already had that was somewhat appropriate, change some of the inappropriate parts. Ciao. Now, when it came to the performance pieces, and I am not going to post it here because one, it's embarrassing. It's really bad. This is the worst performance I ever put out. And I know a lot of you guys are saying exactly what the school said to me. And I don't give a fuck because I was their coach at the time and they went out and they looked stupid. I feel like they did good for what it was, but they looked really stupid. And I'm going to tell you guys what led to this, right? So, like I said, right, I had to put a compilation of everything they already had together and everything was TikToks. I added maybe 2 songs to it. And what really annoys me is the first song that I added and the only song I really got to choreograph was a Jersey club. Okay. They didn't want to learn the movements. A lot of them didn't care to do it. I need y'all to keep all this in mind. They didn't care to do it. They didn't want to practice. I put the mix together and everything for them so they can practice. They would literally come to class and waste the hour and a half every fucking time. By this point, though, I was able to actually get them to stretch. And the intro was actually just a walk. It was a walkout. They would walk and then they would do a little cute move and they would go back into another line and they would keep the walk, right? And it was majorette style. So a lot of them were doing jumps and splits and all of this shit, right? And it was cute, but they hated it so much.
Now, I want you guys to keep in mind what you're seeing on the screen right now is what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a kick line. But you know what they said? Oh, that looks stupid. Those walks look stupid. That's what they said. So I dumbed it down to a walk in the little freestyle, and you keep walking. They couldn't even get the walks together.
They hated the song, but no one had another song choice. They didn't want to do the dances they already had, and it was their dances. This is the shit that really blows my mind because I need y'all to hone in. Like, I need y'all to like truly understand. I didn't get to do anything with these kids. Like, I literally choreographed a walk in, I choreographed a Jersey club part situation, and then I did an Afro piece with Catherine. But other than that, I didn't really get to teach anything besides that demo. So I taught them 4 things in 4 months, which is piss poor. I'm able to get one whole thing of choreography in 2 classes with any average class, sometimes one. And these kids actually have the ability. They just don't care to. And I need y'all to understand this, okay? Because this shit right here, I put everything together. They refuse to come to class and actually practice. They refuse to do anything but stretch. They would stretch and they would play around there. Oh, can I go to the dean? Oh, can I go to this? Oh, can I go to that? And that's where we're going to circle back to the hall monitors, right? And go back to the fact that they lied to me about having someone in the athletic wing. So there's technically 3 floors in the school, but the school is like very, very small. It's very hard to hide. And there's no such thing as really skipping class because somebody's going to fucking find you. And of course, there's hall monitors. Do the hall monitors always do their job? Even though a lot of the coaches had more issues with the teachers, I had more issues with these hall monitors because they enabled the hell out of these behaviors. Like I said, Melissa liked to roam, okay, along with her 3 other followers. They always loved to roam. And every time they didn't want to be in class, every time they didn't want to do something, it's like, oh, can I go to the dean? Oh, can I go to this? Oh, can I go to that? And most of the time they would go to this dean. We're gonna name her Dean Jade, okay? Dean Jade was the bane of my existence. I didn't hate her, but I didn't really like her. I didn't really care for her personality. The same thing with what I told you guys with my supervisor. What would I name her? Janet and Jade. I didn't really care for them. Like, they, of all the people at that job, like, it was something about their vibe that I was just like, I don't like it. Same thing with Coach Darrow and Coach K. It's like, especially together, don't really care for it. Most of the time, okay, when the kids didn't want to be in class, they would say, oh, I'm going to Dean Jade. I'm going to Dean Jade. Or they'd be like, oh, I'm going to one of the hall monitors. Now, I'm not going to really name the hall monitors because they don't really come up too much in this. If you're smart, you would have noticed. So they're not skipping class. They're hanging out with deans. Yeah. Yeah. They're hanging out with deans. And when the deans would get tired of them, they'd be calling me on the walkie, talk about, oh, can you come get your kids? Let me get this straight. There's hall monitors. The kids are supposed to be in class. You know they're supposed to be in class, but you're hanging out with them. You're taking them for 20, 30, 40, the entire class period. And then you're getting annoyed with them. And then you're telling me to come get them. No, you send them to class. You're getting paid more than me. You're a dean. You technically have more authority than me. Send their ass to class. What do you mean come get my kid? Like, this shit doesn't make sense. And then additionally, I'm by myself. There's no one in the athletic wing. There's no one to tell them to go back to class. A lot of times they just walk out. They're not asking. A lot of times they're like, I'm going to DJ, and they just leave. So there's no one there to stop them. And then they're getting to these other floors where there's other hall monitors that are not stopping them, that are letting them go to these deans. And you're telling me to come get them. How am I going to come get them when I'm with the kids and I'm by myself? There is no come get them. Okay. By this point, there was no more Keisha. There was no more social worker. At this point, they left me by myself with these kids because literally Keisha told me, hey, they told me I had to kind of like let you start doing everything and let you transition the kids by yourself. Like, they told me to stop helping you. Like, she literally said that to me and she felt bad. And she was like, yeah, I really hope things go well. I ain't gonna hold you. I was like, what the fuck? Can I transition the kids? Yeah, but it's all about if they listen. Eventually they started listening and I didn't have an issue, but in the beginning it was rough. Like I said, these kids wouldn't even say good morning to me. Like, I would transport them and they're going opposite direction. A lot of times the classes were just across the hall, very small school. A lot of times the classes are just next door and they're walking to the dean. They're walking down the stairs. They're walking to the social worker. I'm just going right here. My jacket's over here. I need to get a snack. It was insane. It was insane because it was just like, what the fuck? So I need y'all to keep this. in mind, right?
So I completely forgot to mention this. I should have mentioned this in part 1 or 2. But when I first arrived, Keisha told me she would have been with me till January, and that was her plan. And she specifically said, like, I know for a fact if I can't be with you till January, this is not gonna work out because I know they're gonna want me to leave you and da da da. But like, I'm gonna stay with you till January. So she did have the plan to stay, but they told her not to. Okay, and it's scary to think that if she stayed with me till January, like I thought she would have, this wouldn't have ended this way. I probably would have, at the very least, finished the school year. The reason this shit got as bad as it did is because I was by myself for a majority of the time. I had Keisha, and the social worker for maybe a week and a half before they were no longer there. And it made shit so much more difficult than it needed to be. And it's just like, I don't know how y'all think it makes sense to do that to people and then not have them in any type of training. Like, that shit is dumb. Literally, even the kids was like, wow, that's messed up. They left you by yourself. Like, oh wow, where's like every day, where's Coach Keisha? Where's Coach Keisha? Damn, there's no one here to help you. Like, damn, why they got you by yourself every day? So it's just like, it wasn't just me that saw it. Even like a lot of the other teachers and staff was like, wait, you by yourself now? And it's like, come on, especially with a team that didn't have a coach for this long. It shouldn't have been that way. Now, I completely forgot to mention this. Hopefully, I can find the email. I probably won't be able to find it. I don't know if I saved it, but after I realized like these kids kept continuously just going to the deans and stuff, I put Kassan, who else? Dean, whatever, Dean Jade, and my supervisor in the email, and I said, listen, I noticed that every time my kids are walking out, they're going to Dean's. They're not skipping class or whatever. And this is becoming extremely inconvenient. Like, how y'all sitting here telling me come get my kids and the kids is with y'all? Like, they're with staff members. Like, this don't make sense. They didn't answer my email. Okay, with the exception, I think Kassam might have answered like a day or so later, like, oh, we'll address this, da da da, so we can help you. None of them answered me. Instead, they're gonna see me like, oh, we saw your email. We're gonna make sure there's someone up there in the athletic wing, and yeah, we're gonna make sure, like, we try to help you with that, and I'm gonna give you a rundown of your kid, like, basically trying to like, yeah, like, shut up. We saw your email. It's not that serious. I swear to you, that's what I heard because bitch, ain't nothing happened. There was never anybody in that athletic wing. Of the 4 months that I was there, I swear to you, there's only someone in that athletic wings 2 times. There was never anyone up there when I had dance. So
Just to reiterate, right? We're prepping for a performance. We're trying to get these kids ready. They're not giving a fuck about anything that I'm talking about. Okay. Most we're doing is stretching. They don't want to practice. Oh, they know this. They've been doing this. I know what it is already. Like when I'm telling you, these are supposed to be dancers. This is supposed to be your discipline. This is a sports based school. Hey, you telling me you don't know how to reblock? Like that's basic. Like you don't know how to reblock. You don't know how to act like the person's there and dance around them. Like it was very interesting because it was a culture shock. It really was because again, I worked with some of the worst kids and I've never had these types of issues. These are basic issues. They're not even real issues, and it's like every time I'm trying to implement something, every time I'm trying to like give a little piece of choreography, it's pushback. It's a 15-minute argument. Why I don't want to do this or why can't we do this? Da, 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 da. And I'm trying to modify their choreography mainly because again, it's very inappropriate. Like the twerking. And I'm not talking about just a little shaky shake. A little shaky shake is not a big deal. When we're talking about dropping it to the low and popping your booty on the floor, absolutely not. There were men that had to walk out of their previous performances, okay, that were on the staff. And it got to a point where like every time I would talk to like a male staff member, they'd be like, oh, like you're the coach for their Hellcats. Will their performance actually be appropriate this time? Like, will I actually be able to sit there and watch? Literally, every male staff member said that to me. And I was just like, oh, it's that bad. And it was like, yeah, I couldn't sit in there. I couldn't sit in there. Even the principal last year, the principal was actually a guy and he walked out. He couldn't even sit there. We're actually gonna get into the former principal a little later because apparently that's why a lot of people didn't like the current principal because they were so attached to the ghetto principal that they had prior, but that's another story for another time. So yeah, I practically had maybe 2 or 3 weeks to get them performance ready. And that's when I started asking about costumes. By the time I started asking about costumes, the situation was maybe like a week and a half away, and I wanted to see what they had in inventory. So I went to Kassan. Now, one thing about Kassan, you'll realize he doesn't really come up much because he was actually supposed to be the one helping me as a coach, and he really did. But sometimes I had to touch base with Kassan because he was the one that kind of had like access to what I needed in terms of costumes. So I'm thinking they have costumes and stuff. Why? Because that's what they said. They said all the kids have everything they need. All the dancers have costumes. All the kids have practice gear. Now, I'm telling you right now, the kids never change for practice. Most of the time, they would just come in sweats. anyway, but in general, they were never dressed. Apparently, they told me I was supposed to actually have them dressed for practice. Like there was practice gear and shit. And it's like, these kids take about 20 minutes just to get settled down anywhere. You think I'm about to have time to do all of that? But what was very funny is there was actually another bathroom, like on another floor. So there's a fourth floor where they had bathrooms that the kids used to change in, but they were no longer allowed to do that. Why? Because one of the kids went on the roof and was smoking and doing the most on the roof. So now they lock the bathroom and no one's allowed to change. So it was very interesting. I had certain staff members like Kassan and of course Janet that would come to me like, oh, well, why the kids not changing? Da, da, da. It's like, how do you expect me to change when the bathroom's locked? Oh, well, you have the key. I actually don't have the key. Oh, okay. Well, you can contact somebody on the walkie. At the time, I didn't have a walkie. So it was just like, it was a lot of disconnect and a lot of confusion. It's like, yeah, they can just have sweats on. As long as they have sweats on, it's whatever. Like I lowered the bar for these kids in order for them to succeed and actually be able to pass. Like to the point where I actually started doing worksheets. And this is something you guys will remember that I implemented in the Newark charter that I had worked into, where I had worksheets for the kids so that they wouldn't fail because it was like some of them genuinely would not dance. They would just sit in the back of the class. Like they was not getting up or stretching, none of that. And I was like, I really don't want y'all to fail. So I made worksheets that corresponded with the lesson plans. They would hand in the worksheet and that was their grade. All they had to do was stretch, hand in a worksheet, and they got their grade for the day. So it was like, that's what I kind of tried to implement, but I didn't have access to the printers. So if I sent something in for print, they would give it to me the next week. And it's like, this shit is a joke. Like this shit is an entire joke. And I also implemented that they had to participate in at least like one or two pieces of the choreography because these kids love mixes. So they would like to put together these 5 to 6, 7 minute mixes, but then like the girls that didn't really want to dance would only do the intro or the outro or only one part in the middle. Honestly, it was a mess. It truly was. Like when you really sit here and think about it, it was a hot ass mess. Because like when you really think about it, you should want to dance because you're on the dance team. But you know what they would say to me every single time I tried to get them to dance? Get this. Well, I never wanted to be on the dance team. I really wanted to be in volleyball. They just put me here because there was no space. When I'm telling you these people lied to me, they told me the kids that are in these sports actually want to be in these sports. They told me that these kids really like to dance. They told me that the kids had everything. Okay, now let's go back to the costume thing, right? I hit up Kassan for the costumes. He shows me everything for dance, and all I see is these navy blue, like leotard swimsuit type things, some black shorts, some little shaky things, and then these blue leotard things. That's it. There's nothing there. I'm thinking, oh, maybe this is just a little bit of it. Mind you, they have an entire stock room. Like, think of an average closet, like a walk-in closet. It was kind of the size of that. It was the size of that. And there was bins, stack on bins of everything. Okay. It was a little disorganized, but it was organized. Like you could tell it was organized at one point, but it kind of got a little disorganized. And apparently, fun fact, that athletic director that I told you guys about in the other series or in the other segment that was supposed to move his desk, he said he was going to move his desk in this closet. He never did it, by the way, but he said that's what he was doing. He wanted to redo the entire closet full of stuff and put his office in there, which didn't make sense. I don't know how a desk was going to fit in there. They claim it would, but that's neither here nor there. He never moved and I never got my own desk. And well, that's another story for another time. I went in there and that's all I found. And I went to the kids and I said, did you guys ever have costumes when you performed prior? And they were like, yeah, actually, when Coach Kiana was working with this, she bought us costumes. But now League One is the ones that has those costumes. Now I'm just sitting there like, wait, Coach Kiana bought costumes with her own money. Yeah. Like we be having to buy stuff on our own. We be having to put shit together and figuring it out. And I'm like, but they said you guys had costumes. And all the kids was like, no, we don't have shit. They lied. Like, trust me, they lied to you, coach. Like, there's no costume. At this point, I'm like, where the fuck am I going to order anything this late in the game? So I went to Janet, I went to Kassan, and I'm like, hey, I need costumes for these kids if they're going to perform for Christmas. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, put the order in or whatever, and we will order everything and make sure it comes in time. I put in an order for these kids. I had them pick out outfits, and it wasn't even expensive. They were probably like $20 a pop. Do you think they ever came? I rest my case. The costumes never came. So now we had to improvise. So I had the kids where they were going to be wearing the blue leotards, the little shaky things that I found. And then I went out my way to purchase the kids tights so they could wear. It was actually cute. The costumes were very cute, in the end of it. But it was just like having to throw that together was another headache in itself. And it was really ridiculous. Now you guys are probably like, well, what happened to the costumes that Coach Kiana had? Well, Coach Kiana spent like $600 on those costumes and she was having League One wear it. She was having them, the Panthers, I think I named them, the Panthers wearing it for their performance. And by this point, I already seen the Panthers performance and it was lit. It was phenomenal. It was actually really good. Their performance was eating, and I knew they were eating because I was literally shadowing Kiana in the beginning, and I would continuously go to see Kiana and those kids because when they would have sports or whatever, when they would have dance, I had break. So when I was ending my break, like the last 10 minutes or whatever, they would be starting dance. And the teacher's lounge was literally right next to the dance room. So I would pass by, say hi to Kiana, say hi to the kids or whatever, and I seen their performance numerous times. So I knew what they were bringing to the table. And I, Coach Keisha, the social worker, I swear to you, anybody that saw those kids dance kept telling my kids, okay, the Hellcats, like, yo, y'all need to step it up. Y'all better take this serious because League One, like, they really eating, like, they look really good. And they started getting mad. They started getting jealous and they started feeling some type of way. And maybe jealous is a strong word, but like, I know they started feeling some type of way because they was like, we can dance. Like, we had standing ovations. And I'm like, the standing ovations for the dances in which men couldn't sit there because it was really inappropriate. But we did a good job though. Like, and I'm like, I don't think you guys understand. You guys are going to look really bad if you don't practice. You literally perform the way you practice and you guys are not practicing and it's gonna look really, really bad and you guys are not going to be happy. I kid you not. I'm trying to help y'all and y'all are not listening and y'all don't want to do anything. Oh, we gonna be fine. The day of, that's when we really go out for, like, we go all out the day of. Well, I'm telling you, shit, you better ask about us, coach. You better ask about us. We really be outside. Every single person that I talked to about this that obviously would come in contact with me and I'd be like, oh, I'm the coach for the Hellcat. They'd be like, oh, I really hope you get them dancing for real because they really can't dance. Everybody kept saying they can't dance. Those kids could dance. They're just lazy. Okay. So it was just like the fact that you guys think that y'all really eating like that and niggas is really just talking shit about y'all is crazy. Like it just shows the level of delusion that they live in and the way they be enabling these kids to think that they're actually doing something, especially when it came to Coach Keisha. Like Keisha would really enable their shit and be like, yeah, you guys look great. And it's like, no, they don't. And I'm not gonna lie to kids and tell them they look great when they don't. Like, you guys look lazy, you guys look sloppy, you guys look like you're not practicing and you're not. So whatever. This became a thing for a while. And then I had to put a pin in that because then all of a sudden they're talking about the kids got to dance for halftime. Now, this is the thing. I didn't know anything about halftimes. Another thing they conveniently kind of slipped out.
So another thing to note is every single time these kids had a performance or they had something coming up, they wouldn't tell me. They would tell Keisha and then Keisha would tell me, or they would tell Kiana and then Kiana would tell me. I never understood this. It's like y'all all got my email. Y'all see me every day. I'm in the meetings every day. Like, why can't y'all just tell me like, hey, your kids have a performance this time? I don't get that shit. And you guys probably wonder like, oh, was there a schedule? Was there whatever? When I'm telling you the school schedule, I felt like it changed every time and they would have different rules for different things and different times, which I'll probably get into the next two parts. Because it would be like, oh, you're not allowed to call out this week. And it's like, how am I supposed to know what week I'm allowed to call out and not call out? Like we had like blackout days and stuff like that. And I've always heard blackout days, not blackout weeks. Like one time they tried to tell me, oh, well, you called out twice in a blackout week. And I'm like, the fuck is that? Like, I'm telling you, bro, like I could not keep up with this nonsense.
The kids have games after school. I'm thinking they're games against other charter schools, other public schools, other schools or programs in the area. No, they're playing against themselves. This sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy. It really does. So they would play against the other sites. Like I said in part one, there are numerous schools in the network. So they would play each other, come to each other's schools at the end of the day. So you would have to stay from like 4:10 to like 5 o'clock. The games would be short. I heard the games were like 30 minutes to an hour max, like almost never go an hour. You might be there for 30 minutes to 45 minutes. And did you get extra pay? I want y'all to comment down below. Do you think I got extra pay? Well, I never did this shit. I'm telling you right now, I was like, I'm not doing this shit. Okay. I'm spoiling it right now for you guys. Do you think everybody else got extra pay? No, they actually did. So you were expected to come to these games. And then us as Nancy's, we had to perform for halftime. I don't understand why there's a halftime if the games are only 30 to 45 minutes anyway, but hey, that's neither here or there. So they told me my kids had to do a halftime show and it was less than a week in advance. And I'm like, they don't have shit. I told Janet, I told Kassan, I told the athletic director, like, they don't have shit. They will not be performing. It looks really, really bad. And they're like, well, we think that, we think you're capable. We think, again with the toxic positivity. I'm telling you, we don't have it because we don't. I'm a very realistic person. I'm very half glass and half full because it is. It's both. The glass is half full and half empty at the same damn time. If I'm telling you the kids don't have shit, they don't have shit. I'm just sitting there like, trust me, they don't have anything. So I tried for the next couple of days, tried to put something together. I actually did re-chop up the songs, made it shorter for the halftime, but I forgot what happened. I probably pulled it because they looked crazy, or I think the game was canceled. It was one or the other. It was one of two things that either happened. And honestly, I was glad. I don't give a fuck. I was very glad because it's just like, y'all don't need to be embarrassing yourselves. You don't need to be embarrassing me. We need to focus on this performance. Okay. So honestly, that halftime performance was literally just a short version of what was going to be their Christmas performance. So now we're getting closer to the Christmas performance, right? At this point, things were shifting a lot. A lot of the kids were not coming to school because, oh, well, I'm going away early for this. Or I actually had two studs on my team who, oh, fuck this, I'm not dancing. I had one of the kids that actually was part-time volleyball. Now you guys were like, that don't make sense. If you had kids that really wanted to be on the volleyball team and didn't want to dance, why didn't they let them go and they let this girl go? That was Janet. Different rules for different fools. Stacy was a stud. Stacy would go to volleyball for dance. And she was the only student allowed to do this. None of the other students were allowed to do it. I thought it was genuinely unfair, but she wasn't in the dance. Heather finally shows up. And I think I'm going to save Heather for the next part. Heather apparently is the worst kid on this team. I personally really liked her. And it's funny, Heather is actually the student that I'm talking about on my Instagram and my TikTok in my first video that basically cursed me out for her not having good grades or whatever. And it's like, that's the first and last time she ever went off on me like that. But I actually really, really like her. Again, we're going to save Heather for the next part. But there was another girl like Lisa that I was talking about. Lisa actually ended up switching schools in the middle, like right when we were planning this performance because of a situation. Like, I'm telling you, chaos. Every day it was something else. So I was working with a limited amount of kids, but I knew for a fact I'm supposed to be a standard 12. Okay. Now, Coach Kiana comes to me and she's like, hey, since the performance is coming up, we really want to try to have a dress rehearsal, whatever, with all the kids, you know, mark the space, check the spacing, things like that. This is going to be great. Now they're really going to see how they've been fucking up. Like, and I don't know. I feel like a lot of you guys are going to judge me for this, but I feel like everybody would have probably did worse than me. I really want to hear your thoughts and opinions down below, right? Now, this is actually around the time where I posted this video right here where I said, you know, this job is making me really want to quit teaching because I was like, is it me? Like, is it them? And then, you know, I moved on, you know, started my nonprofit. I've been teaching. It is not me. Okay, bitch. I know what I'm doing. I know how to do it very well, and I'm proud of myself. Like, can't no one ever try to tell me or make me feel like I'm not doing what I need to do. Like, nobody's about to like make me feel like, you know, I'm not good at what I do. Like, I've been doing this for over a decade, baby. So literally, y'all, we're trying to be like, okay, move this way, stand here, go to this spot, don't stand there, do this. It looks better. Oh, nah, don't touch me, don't put me here. No, like, no, I need to be in front. I need this. I made up this dance moves. I need to be in front. Oh my God, she can't even dance. Why the fuck is she here? All just talking, just running at them. And I'm like, aren't y'all supposed to be friends? Y'all sitting here talking shit about each other like this? Like, y'all just follow instructions so y'all don't look a mess, okay? Bro, they do the run through. They look horrible. They look horrible to the point where they all start crashing out. These kids started having mental breakdowns because they looked a mess in front of everyone. And they looked a mess because they legitimately did not practice. Every single day that we had an hour and a half to practice, they spent all of that time lollygagging, gallivanting in the hallways, purposely not coming to school to avoid dance, talking to their friends, taking my phone to take pictures and do TikTok. They spent the time doing everything but dancing, and now they look a mess. And now they're sad and they're crashing out and they're crying. And like everybody in the building is trying to like console them. I'm just sitting there like, I knew this was going to happen and this was part of my master plan, but also I really thought that this was going to make them become more accountable. I really thought that they was going to see this shit and lock in and be like, all right, y'all, we need to get it together. Some of them did, but you won't believe what happened next. Now, when this happened, it was in the morning. So we still had dance during the day. So I'm telling them, like, listen, we could practice during dance. It's okay. It's not that bad. Crying. Okay.
We look crazy. We look stupid. Like, we should have been practicing. Like, oh my God, like, they look better than us. Everybody keeps saying they look better than us. Like, this is fucking crazy. Like, what the fuck? I'm about to crash out.
I'm talking, yo, walking, storming off, like slamming doors, throwing shit. And I'm just sitting there like, I don't understand what y'all want me to do because I tried to get y'all to practice. Like, I really did. I really, really did. And none of y'all gave a fuck. Y'all say y'all know what y'all doing. Y'all gonna do it the day of the show. Is that not what y'all said to me? Is that not what y'all said to everybody that kept saying, like, yo, y'all need to lock in. Y'all need to get it together. Y'all said y'all know what y'all doing and y'all gonna get it together for the day of the show, and y'all didn't get it together for the day of the show, and now y'all are upset. And I don't want to hear anything about it because it comes to a point where it's like you need to take accountability for your actions. And I was literally talking to them like, y'all need to take accountability for your actions because at the end of the day, you guys had plenty of time to practice, plenty of time to get it together. This is your choreography. Some of this you've done it before. Nothing that I added here was new with the exception of the intro and the like part of the ending, which was Jersey Club choreo. And everybody wasn't doing it. Oh, we don't like that choreography. We're not doing it. It was only 4 of them doing it. Now all of a sudden, oh, teach me the Jersey Club, teach me this, teach me that. You guys need to be accountable for your actions because this is your fault that y'all don't look good. It's your fault that you are not ready. And it is your fault that this is going the way it is, but we can fix it. We have time. We have dance later. And I was like, cool, could we stay after school? Stay after school is crazy, bitch. I don't live here. I was like, I do not live here. I was like, I live in Jersey. That's a lot. I'm gonna be missing my train for real if I stay here with y'all. Post, please. Oh my God, post, please. I said, I'll think about it. I'll think about it. And plus, it's one of those things where like technically most kids don't stay after school anymore because of the shooting that happened with that child. So a lot of the kids are scared to stay after school. A lot of the staff don't stay. And typically, I believe they said like there has to be like a dean in the building or a dean willing to stay if the kids stay for anything. So I'll check in with you guys on that. And I explained to them why, and they are just sad, right? Some of them already knew they was gonna look crazy and they was like, whatever. And funny enough, Heather actually was there that day. Now, I said I was gonna save Heather's introduction for the next video, but let me just tell you right now, the reason I loved Heather, even though she was supposed to be the worst, was because Heather gathered those kids so fucking quick, okay? And this is why she gathered them, right? Some of them actually stayed in the gym to watch League One and League Three. It's League Three's turn. That also looks a mess, but it was only like maybe 2 or 3 of them that got up to do anything. I don't know what it was, but from what I understand, League Three has literally been disappointed since like their freshman sophomore year, like to the point where they've won stuff, they've been promised gear and all this stuff, prizes, and they've never gotten it. So they just don't care to dance at all. They just want to graduate. So I understood why they looked like that. And they weren't really even dancing for real. Like they didn't give a fuck. So at that point, Fernanda was like, you know what? We're not dancing. We don't care. But they did go in the dance room at that time and they were trying to like figure something out. So my kids are crashing out in there. League Three's in there, you know, trying to practice. You got the social worker, you got, you know, my dean or whatever, all of them start trying to go in there to console them. Some of the kids actually stayed in the gym to watch League One. Now, while some of them are crashing out, some of them are coming back, some of them are going back and forth, some of them are being consoled. League One is dancing again. Now they're doing it full out. Before they were just marking and they looked pretty good. Now they're doing it full out. Why does Keisha have a part in these kids' dance? Yes, Coach Keisha, who was their previous coach and supposed to be my assistant coach. Apparently, she's been with them the entire time because they also technically don't have a coach. The only thing is during dance, Coach Kiana takes over. So apparently, she had a part. And you know the crazy part about this? This is how, and if you guys see the performances on Patreon, you'll see everything is TikTok dances. The only difference is League One's actually fucking dancing. They mix in the TikToks with their dances, so it wasn't that bad. I probably wouldn't have allowed it, to be honest. Because TikTok dances are not for stage. But at the end of the day, like if you didn't know better, if you didn't know anything about TikTok, you wouldn't know that those were TikTok dances because they executed it so well. Everything was mixed together so well. And they did it so well that you're not really gonna notice unless you're really on TikTok and stuff, right? So they had a part where they did that dance that with the legs and shit. And Coach Keisha, she loved doing that dance move. That's the only dance move she know how to do. And she would always joke around like, yeah, I'm so happy you're here because I really didn't know how to help like the Hellcats because I really can't dance like that. This the only move I do. So League One had that part in their dance. And they were like, yo, Coach Keisha, you always doing this dance. Like, could you be in our dance or whatever? Child, they do their dance. Coach Keisha gets up, okay? And she joins in for that part because that's her part. My kids, okay, the Hellcats that were in the gym got up and they bum rushed Keisha. They physically got up and they pushed her out of the dance and they started cursing her out. Oh, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like, why you dancing with them? How dare you? What the fuck? Like, why would you dance with them? You're not even dancing with us. You're not even in our going off. And you know what the Panthers did? They kept dancing, going through the moves, eating shit up. They didn't stop. They didn't react. They didn't laugh. They kept going. And I was just like, all you see is the Panthers dancing. They eating this shit up. And you see my kids crashing out in the back, cursing out Keisha. Now you got everybody running, trying to like make sure my kids don't beat Keisha up. And I'm just like, I'm honestly overstimmed and annoyed because I'm thinking at this point, they're probably going to start taking accountability for their actions and start thinking to themselves, like, okay, you know what? We need to lock in. Okay, because that was honestly what I thought was going to happen. But instead, this is what they were saying. Okay.
This is all Coach Kiana's fault.
This is Kiana's fault.
Because like she want to go leave us to be with them. She was even helping us
Like that, like that's fucking crazy. And no offense to you, you know, Coach R. Like I know, like you just got here, whatever. But like she was the one that was helping us with everything, and now she's helping them.
And like now you got Coach Keisha out here. Like what the fuck? Like what the fuck she dancing with them for? Like that's crazy.
Like this is crazy. Like nobody even cares about us. No one gives a fuck. Like
And what's crazy about this is I've told you guys we're already on part 3. And you guys have heard how these people have coddled them into their defense, like literally been there. And they still sat there and they disrespected the fuck out of them. They're disrespectful to the teachers and the staff, the social workers, the coaches. They're disrespectful to everyone, hence why they're known as the worst team. And they don't even have any accountability for it. They are cursing everyone out instead of taking accountability for the fact that if they practice, they wouldn't look crazy. And I'm just like, this is like insane. Like, this is actually insane. And this is where I love Heather. Okay. At this point, Heather had came late. She was like, yo, and mind you, Heather's a stud. Okay. Heather and Stacy are studs. Heather is like,
I don't understand what the fuck y'all crying for. Like, y'all need to grow the fuck up for real. Y'all need to grow the fuck up because, like, y'all really be coming to school, not doing shit. Y'all coming here high as hell, not really doing nothing. And then y'all out here mad as fuck that, you know, Keisha dancing with the other team. Of course you gonna dance with the other team. They look better than y'all. Y'all look a hot fucking mess.
I'm like, she's saying everything I want to say. Okay. She's saying everything I want to say.
Y'all mad that everybody's saying that they look better than y'all. They do look better than y'all. They look better than y'all because they practice. Y'all come in here, y'all play all day, hanging in the halls. Y'all not even really doing nothing.
And then, you know, Samantha, Melissa, and all of them, you're like,
Like, no, but like, if we feel some type of way, we're entitled to feel the way we feel.
She's like, nah, shut the fuck up, though.
shut the fuck up. And this is the thing. They're afraid of Heather. Okay. This is why I wanted to save the introduction to Heather for the next one because it's going to take some time. They're scared of Heather. When Heather comes, the entire mood shifts. Okay, because they're afraid of her. Usually, Melissa's the head honcho. But Melissa, she not going to fuck with Heather. Okay, Heather really run that shit for real, but she don't come often. So most of the time, Melissa's the one running shit. So when Heather says something, them niggas, they scared of her. So she's just like, yo,
No, y'all need to shut the fuck up. Like, the fuck is y'all crying for? Like, y'all sound stupid. Y'all look stupid. Of course she's going to go and dance with them.
Yo, I really keep remembering stories as I'm editing. Fun fact, the same day there was a cold call at the end of the day because literally, I guess the kids kept talking about it and Heather just went off like, yo, shut the hell up. And she was going back and forth with Melissa and they was like literally about to fight because she was just like, yo, stop talking about this shit. I'm trying to do my work and y'all will shut the fuck up about this. I'm like, yo. I was like, yo, this is crazy. And Heather got they sent Heather home for that. And it was just like, that's crazy because she's not wrong. She's actually trying to do her work. Like, I don't, child.
all that to say, like, it's just so funny because like she was really like putting them in their place and they was really trying to argue back and forth with her. Like, well, we're entitled to feel how we feel. And Heather was like, well, how you feel is stupid and it don't make sense. And I'm just like, it is crazy. So at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to help. Let's see how this actually goes. Maybe if they actually decide to come and practice and do what they need to do, they'll get better. I literally took this time to tell them, like, listen, you guys could be great. You guys know how to dance. You're not bad dancers. You are just lazy. You guys don't want to do the work that it takes to get to where they are. That's why they look better than you. But realistically, there's no real difference between you guys as a team. If you guys listen, I promise you guys will look better than them. Can you guys guess what happened?
oh, I need to go see the dean. Oh, I'm going to the bathroom.
Oh, I'll be right back.
Oh my God, coach, I don't feel like dancing.
Oh my God, I'm tired.
Oh my God, I don't want to stress. Why we gotta stress?
They spent the entire class period bullshitting. And during this time, literally, Coach Keisha, Coach Kiana, the social worker, and my dean walked in. while I'm trying to literally get them to lock in and do this choreography, and they're bullshitting. What the fuck is this? Like, my dean was like, what the fuck is this? Like, y'all was sitting here complaining that y'all look crazy and y'all in here cutting up. Like, where's half the class? At this point, half of them walked out. Okay, I'm calling to redirect on the walkie because at this point I did have my walkie. I'm calling like redirect, da da da, redirect, da da da, redirect, da da da. Where are they? God knows where. But like I told you guys, every single time they're walking out and doing shit, they're with a dean. They're with a hall monitor. Okay, therefore it's just like, it's not like they're hiding somewhere. So it's just like, I don't understand it. So now my dean is giving them a lecture. Coach Kiana's giving them a lecture. Coach Keisha's giving them a lecture. Everybody's giving them a lecture and basically saying like, you guys are bullshit. You guys were crying this morning about how y'all look crazy. You guys are mad that y'all looked a mess, and then this is the shit that y'all do. Like, this don't make sense. And then at this point, now everybody want to have circles with the kids because, like I said, they crashed out on everybody. And this school love to have circles and reformative conversations that don't fucking do shit, right? So Coach Kiana had to step in and have a conversation, and she was like, honestly, y'all hurt my feelings. The fact that y'all was talking about some fuck me and I'm helping them or whatever, the reason I'm helping them is because they listen. They come to class and they dance. They come to class and they want to learn. And even when they're goofing around and stuff, they still get shit done. I try to help y'all. There's been times I've come to class to see what y'all got, trying to fix y'all, and y'all have an attitude, y'all walking out of class. Like, there's nothing for me to do with that. Like, there's nothing for me to really help y'all with if y'all gonna be sitting here and not listening to what I'm trying to do to help y'all. Like, y'all got a coach here that actually can dance. She's actually trying to help y'all. She actually has experience. I'm not even really a dance coach for real. I just stepped in to help. And if I'm helping and you guys aren't helping me help y'all, then there's nothing for me to do. And I was just like, So she had her little speech. Then we like, when I'm telling you nothing happened that day, like everything was just circles and crying and crashing out in codes. It was insane. So she has her thing. Now we have Coach Keisha that came in. Coach Keisha was like, honestly, I understand you guys are upset that I was dancing with the other team or whatever, but it wasn't really planned. It was like I was there one day, they was doing this, they decided to put it in their dance. They know that that's the only dance I did, so I did it with them. There's no hard feelings towards y'all. It's not like I was trying to get back at y'all or anything like that. It's just that's literally what happened. It was like, okay, but like, why wasn't you in our dance though? And she was like, y'all never asked. And plus, I can't do all the stuff that y'all be doing. Like, y'all doing like TikToks, I don't know. Y'all are doing like, shit with twerking and stuff. I'm a stud. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, that's my only dance I do. They put it in a dance, so I did it. Like, it's no hard feelings. Like, don't think that like I just did it to spite y'all. Like, that's not what it was. Like, I love y'all. I was with y'all for, ever since y'all last coach left. Like, it wasn't that deep. So she had to have this whole conversation with them like they were fucking 5. I'm sorry. I understand they're still kids and understand their feelings are valid, but it's like, at what point did these kids take any accountability? Spoiler alert, they did not. They did not. So I actually did go out of my way to stay with these kids at the end of the day after they didn't care to really practice during the run. They didn't care to practice during class, and they didn't care to really practice during practice after school either. They were still goofing around, still playing around. And I'm just like, I don't understand y'all. Like, I don't teach anything new because I know you guys have dances. I put it together so it'd be easier and you guys don't have to do too much. I add 2 parts. Y'all don't even want to do the 2 parts. One is simple. One is a walk and a kick or whatever freestyle you want to do. Y'all don't want to do that. Y'all don't want to do the Jersey Club. Y'all don't want to do any new real majorette moves. Y'all don't want to, like, then you're crying because you look a mess. And whose fault is that? Like, I'm not really understanding. So now at this point, they're like, well, I feel like, like you can like really like just make everybody dance. Like, why is it that only some of us are in certain parts? And I'm like, because I'm trying to give you guys autonomy. I'm trying to make this as easy as possible for everyone involved. If you know you can't do certain dance moves, I'm not going to force you to do it, especially not now that we have a performance and we're on crunch time. If you only want to be in 2 parts, 3 parts, whatever, I just want it to look as good as possible. Okay, but like, no, that's not fair that some of us are doing like the whole thing and it just complaining about shit. It's like, first of all, worry about yourself because y'all niggas don't look good, period. Okay, from all y'all that are in all parts and some of y'all that are in some parts, y'all just look fucking horrible. So let's focus on actually practicing, okay? So fast forward, day of the show comes. I told you guys, right? I knew there was going to be 12 girls. There were supposed to be 12 girls in the performance. How many do you think I had? Yeah, 8. And what's even crazier is the only one of the 8 that actually ate was actually Catherine. Catherine did so good. Fun fact, Melissa, who actually made a lot of this choreography, as well as Samantha, they're like this, okay? And another story for another time. They both didn't show up. One had a stomach ache, and the other one was throwing up in the morning. I don't remember what it was, but they didn't come. And mind you, the performance was the day before the last day of break. Okay, so 8 of them showed up. I honestly was ready to cancel the performance. Like, I'm not gonna hold you. That was my main goal, to have them not perform, period. Because they really did look fucking crazy. And I really thought they would take accountability and then lock in. But since they didn't, I was already prepared in my head to tell Janet and tell Kassan they will not be performing because they really look bad and there's not enough of them. But 8 of them showed up. The performance went okay until 2 of them fell and busted their ass during the performance. Yeah. Now, to their credit, they kept going. And that's what a professional does. They kept going. One of them fell twice. The other one fell once. And again, this is what happens when you don't practice. Funny because the reason one of them fell was because instead of wearing the stockings that I provided, she decided to go to Coach Kiana and get stockings because those were better. And she didn't put them on right. There's a part, like, I don't know if you guys ever seen like the footless tights, but the ones that have like just the hole at the bottom versus the hole at the top. Or just being like, I'll put them here if I see. She put them on backwards, so the hole was at the top of her foot versus the bottom, so she was slipping and sliding everywhere. Hence why she fell twice. If you would have just wore the stockings I gave you, you wouldn't have these problems. But oh, these look better. Okay. And there's a lot of that went on with this group where anything I said didn't matter. They would go to Coach Kiana, they would go to Coach Keisha, they would go to whatever, which is fine because I understand that's who you're used to. But it's like if I'm trying to create a relationship with y'all and I'm trying to do what's best for y'all and y'all not listening, like what do you want me to do with that information? And how do you expect me to feel? Like eventually I ain't gonna hold you. It started making me feel like goddamn, like I don't give a fuck about these type of shit. Like and it is what it is, you know. Some of them I built a really good bond with. I really did. One of them I still talk to this day, but I really did disassociate myself after all of this because it just became worse and worse and worse. Okay. That performance was a telltale sign that I wasn't going to be able to do shit with these kids. And it really truly made me sad and it broke my heart because I really wanted to dance. I really wanted to make a difference. I really wanted to help these kids through dance because I know a lot of them actually do like to dance. They just don't know how to do shit properly and they don't care for I guess the prep of it, like the stretching and the warm-ups and the real dancing. They just want to do TikToks. But it's just like I really thought I was gonna be able to bring something to the table, but with the disrespectful staff, the ridiculous admin, the abysmal kids, it was just very hard to get through them. Right now, luckily, I really wasn't blamed for this performance. Everybody already saw what was going on. Everybody saw that they wouldn't practice. Everyone saw that they didn't give a fuck about shit. And it's funny because when I would tell like the teachers, or I'll talk to the teachers, because the reason we had to do the first and the last 5 and escort these kids to the class is basically to get a temperature check. We would tell the teachers like, hey, such and such is, not feeling well today, or oh, these people are beefing. Watch out for them too. Don't let them sit together type shit. So, they were obviously coming in sad as hell for the next couple of days leading up to the performance because they looked horrible. And I had to tell the teachers, and they're like, wait, so they don't dance? Like they do the same shit in dance? I was like, yeah, the same cutting up and walking out and doing whatever that they do here, they do in dance too. And there was like, why are they coming here? Like, I thought they liked to dance. I said, listen, I thought so too. Like, that's what I was told, but I guess not. So that concludes part 3. This was a lot. I sat here and filmed for hours, 2 of these parts. So please leave a like, hype the video, share, whatever. And of course, I would love to hear your experiences down below with teaching because there's a reason we all have very similar stories. I feel like this story or this series is unique because the school and the students were unique. But for the most part, it's the same underlying themes of madness. With that being said, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Scan the QR code for everything you guys always ask me about down below. And, everything that's basically in the description box. Thank you guys so much for watching. I cannot wait to see you in one of my dance classes if you are located in New Jersey or New York. And most notably, make sure you check out all the other channels. I have 3 channels. Everything, again, is going to be in the QR code or link down below. Stay tuned for part 4.